What if I told you there is a place where the past never really ends? A place where every street is a museum, every building a piece of history, and every sunset feels like a doorway into eternity. That place is Rome, the eternal city. For thousands of years, Rome has been more than just a capital. It has been the beating heart of empires, the cradle of Western civilization, and a living reminder that some stories never fade. When you step into Rome, you're not just traveling, you're time traveling. And that's where our journey begins. As you walk into the Colosseum, one of the most iconic landmarks in the world, you can almost hear the echoes of the crowd. Imagine the thunderous roar of 50,000 spectators, the clash of steel, and the drama of gladiators fighting not just for victory, but for survival. The Colosseum isn't just stone and arches. It's a monument to human ambition, to the desire for spectacle, and to the timeless need for stories larger than life. Even in its ruins, it stands tall, whispering tales of glory and blood, of emperors and citizens who came together in awe. Just beyond lies the Roman Forum, once the very heart of the empire. Walking through its ruins feels like stepping into the pages of a history book brought to life. Temples dedicated to Jupiter and Saturn still rise in broken fragments, while the Arch of Septimius Severus stretches proudly toward the sky. Here, decisions that shaped the destiny of nations were made. Senators debated, generals paraded their victories, and ordinary Romans filled the marketplace with voices that seem to echo even now. Standing in the Forum, you can almost feel time folding in on itself, the past and the present colliding in one breathtaking moment. But Rome is not only about ruins, it is also the spiritual center of Catholicism, and nowhere is this more powerful than in Vatican City. St. Peter's Basilica towers with majesty, its vast dome designed by Michelangelo commanding the skyline. Inside, sunlight filters through stained glass, illuminating statues and altars that radiate awe. In front of you stands Michelangelo's Pietà, a masterpiece carved with such delicate detail that it almost seems to breathe. And above, in the Sistine Chapel, the ceiling bursts with the genius of one man's vision, scenes from Genesis painted so vividly they still leave visitors speechless centuries later. To stand there, looking up at creation itself, is to understand why Rome has been called the center of the world. But Rome is not just frozen in the past, it is alive, vibrant, and endlessly inviting. As evening falls, the city transforms. Golden lights spill onto cobblestone streets, fountains sparkle, and laughter drifts from trattorias serving pasta made with recipes older than modern nations. At the Trevi Fountain, crowds gather to toss coins into its waters, believing in the promise that one day they will return. The Spanish Steps become a living stage, filled with people resting, talking, and 4 p.m., 8/17, 2025, Hanzala, watching the world unfold. And in Piazza Navona, performers, artists, and musicians bring energy to a square once used for ancient games. Rome is a city that moves at its own rhythm. It is history, art, faith, and modern life colliding in every corner. You might sip espresso in a cafe tucked beside a 2,000-year-old ruin, or walk from a Renaissance church into a bustling fashion street lined with modern boutiques. Rome doesn't separate its past from its present. It weaves them together, reminding you that time doesn't erase greatness, it builds upon it. And then there is the food. To eat in Rome is to taste tradition. A simple plate of cacio e pepe, pasta tossed with cheese and black pepper, feels like a dish perfected over centuries. Pizza al taglio, sold by the slice and eaten on the go, carries flavors as timeless as the city itself. And of course, gelato, creamy, rich, and refreshing, is the perfect way to end an evening stroll through the glowing streets of Trastevere, a neighborhood where charm and authenticity thrive. Rome is more than a destination, it is a wonder of humanity. To stand within its walls is to realize how far we've come, and how deeply connected we still are to those who walked here before us. The Eternal City does not just invite you to look, it demands you to feel, to breathe in its history, to taste its culture, to lose yourself in its endless layers of time. Rome is the beginning of our journey, and yet, somehow, it feels like the beginning of everything. Close your eyes and imagine a city with no cars, no chaos, and no noise of traffic, only the sound of water gently lapping against stone, the soft swish of gondolas gliding through canals, and the laughter of people echoing across bridges. This is Venice, the floating city, the city of dreams, the city that defies logic and yet feels completely timeless. Venice is not built on land, but on water, standing proudly on wooden stilts driven deep into the lagoon centuries ago. And to this day, it continues to enchant every soul that dares to wander through its labyrinth of canals. The first glimpse of Venice takes your breath away. Arriving by boat, the city slowly reveals itself, a skyline of domes and bell towers rising above glistening waters. The Grand Canal, shaped like a giant S, flows through the heart of the city like an elegant main street. Palaces with fading but beautiful facades stand proudly along its edges, each one carrying stories of nobility, merchants, and adventurers who once ruled the seas. At the heart of Venice lies St. Mark's Square, or Piazza San Marco, often called the drawing room of Europe. As you step into the square, you are surrounded by architectural marvels that seem to radiate elegance. St. Mark's Basilica glimmers with golden mosaics that tell biblical stories in a language older than words. The 5 domes of the basilica soar upward, their Byzantine design making Venice feel both Eastern and Western at once. Just beside it stands the Campanile, the bell tower, from where the city stretches endlessly under your gaze, the lagoon shimmering like glass under the sun. A few steps away, the Doge's Palace reminds you that Venice was once a republic so powerful it commanded the Mediterranean. Its pink and white marble facade is delicate, but inside, the halls are filled with grandeur. This is where the Doge ruled, where councils made decisions that shaped trade, diplomacy, and war. Crossing the Bridge of Sighs, you can almost hear the whispers of prisoners being led to their cells, moments of despair forever etched into stone. But the true magic of Venice is not just in its monuments, it is in its rhythm. A gondola ride through the canals is more than transportation. It is an experience of poetry. The gondolier's oar dips softly into the water as he guides you through narrow passageways, past flower-draped balconies and hidden courtyards. At night, when lanterns flicker on the water and songs drift across the air, Venice feels less like a city and more like a dream suspended in time. Yet Venice is not only the Grand Canal. Its magic spreads to its islands, each with a distinct soul. Murano has been famous for centuries for its glassmaking. Watching a master glassblower create a delicate vase or a glowing chandelier is to witness a tradition passed down through generations. Nearby, Murano explodes with color, its houses painted in vibrant reds, blues, yellows, and greens, creating a rainbow reflection on the canals. This island is also renowned for lace making, a craft as delicate and intricate as the city itself. Then there's Torcello, quieter, almost forgotten, but home to one of Venice's oldest churches, a reminder of the city's humble beginnings before it became a world power. Food in Venice is another story altogether. Fresh seafood dominates the tables, risotto nero, black with cuttlefish ink, sarde and saor, sweet and sour sardines marinated with onions and raisins, and cicchetti, Venetian tapas, shared with friends over glasses of spritz in small Baccari taverns. Every bite feels like a connection to the lagoon, to the fishermen, to the traditions that keep Venice alive. But Venice is also fragile. Rising tides and the ever-present challenge of acqua alta seasonal flooding threaten the city's future. Yet Venice endures. Like the gondolas that rise and fall with the water, the city adapts, surviving storms and centuries, never losing its magic. That fragility, that balance between beauty and risk, makes Venice even more precious. To walk through Venice is to surrender yourself. You cannot rush here. The narrow streets twist and turn, leading you to unexpected discoveries, a quiet bridge, a hidden chapel, a little shop selling handmade masks, that recall the mystery of the Venetian carnival. Venice teaches you to wander without direction, to lose yourself so that you may truly find the soul of the city. And then comes the sunset. As the sky turns gold and the waters shimmer, Venice transforms into pure enchantment. Lights reflect on the canals, music drifts across the piazzas, and for a moment, you understand why poets, painters, and lovers have been inspired by this city for centuries. Venice is not just a place, it is a feeling, a dream you carry with you long after you leave. What if there was a city where genius was not the exception, but the rule? A place where art, science, and philosophy didn't just exist, but thrived together, changing the way humanity saw the world. That city is Florence, the birthplace of the Renaissance, the cradle of ideas that still shape us today. To walk through Florence is to walk through the corridors of genius, where every square and every building tells the story of brilliance that will never fade. The first sight that captures your soul is the Cathedral of Santa Maria del Fiore, better known simply as the Duomo. Rising above the rooftops, its magnificent red dome dominates the skyline. Designed by Filippo Brunelleschi, the dome was a miracle of engineering in the 15th century, a feat so daring that many thought it impossible. Yet it stands, centuries later, as a symbol of human ambition. Step inside and look upward. Frescoes of heaven and hell stretch across the dome, reminding every visitor of both divine glory and human frailty. Climbing to the top is a pilgrimage in itself, and when you finally emerge into the open, the view of Florence spreads out in a breathtaking panorama of terracotta rooftops, winding streets, and rolling Tuscan hills beyond. Florence is a living museum, and its treasures are endless. The Uffizi Gallery, one of the most famous art collections in the world, holds masterpieces that forever change the meaning of beauty. Botticelli's Birth of Venus captures the moment of creation in soft, flowing lines that still stir the imagination. Leonardo da Vinci's Annunciation shows the genius of a young artist destined to redefine the boundaries of knowledge. And every room reveals another wonder, another reminder that Florence was once the center of the world's creativity. No visit to Florence is complete without standing in the presence of Michelangelo's David. Inside the Accademia Gallery, the statue towers at over 5 meters tall, carved from a single block of marble. Every muscle, every vein, every detail is so perfect that it almost feels alive. David is more than a sculpture, it is a symbol of human strength, courage, and the endless pursuit of perfection. To stand before it is to feel the weight of history and the inspiration of genius all at once. But Florence is not only about grand art, it is also about daily life that pulses through its narrow streets and bustling piazzas. The Ponte Vecchio, the city's oldest bridge, is lined with jewelry shops that sparkle in the sunlight, a tradition passed down through centuries. Wander into the markets, and you'll be greeted by the scent of Tuscan leather, the rich aroma of espresso, and the colorful stalls overflowing with fresh produce, cheeses, and wines that carry the flavors of the surrounding countryside. As the day slows, Florence offers quiet beauty. A stroll along the Arno River as the sun sets will lead you to Piazzale Michelangelo, where the entire city glows beneath a sky painted in shades of gold and rose. From here, Florence feels eternal, timeless, unchanging, yet always alive. The bells ring across the rooftops, echoing with the same sound that guided generations before. Florence is also a city of philosophy and science. It was here that Galileo looked at the stars and dared to challenge the universe. It was here that thinkers and writers redefined politics, literature, and the meaning of human existence. Florence doesn't just hold art, it holds the spirit of curiosity, the daring belief that knowledge could transform the world. And then there is the food, simple, rustic, yet unforgettable. Thick slices of Florentine steak cooked over open flames, ribollita soup made from vegetables and bread, and olive oil, so pure it tastes like liquid gold. Pair it with a glass of Chianti, and you taste the essence of Tuscany itself. Even a scoop of creamy gelato, enjoyed as you wander past centuries-old palaces, feels like a gift from the city to your soul. Florence is not just a destination, it is a revelation. It reminds us that beauty, knowledge, and creativity are not luxuries, but necessities. To walk its streets is to feel alive in the deepest sense. To feel the weight of history pressing gently against your shoulders while inspiring you to dream higher. Florence is proof that genius can be eternal, and that when humanity dares to reach beyond limits, it creates wonders that never fade. What if there was a place where mountains and sea collided in a symphony of beauty, where villages clung to cliffs as if painted onto the rocks, and every turn revealed a view so stunning it seemed unreal? This is the Amalfi Coast, Italy's most dazzling stretch of shoreline. It is not just a destination, but a living dream, a coastline where nature's drama and human artistry come together in perfect harmony. To visit the Amalfi Coast is to surrender your senses, to let beauty overwhelm you at every step. The journey itself is unforgettable. Driving along the coastal road, the Strada Statale 163, is like gliding through heaven on a ribbon of asphalt carved into the mountainside. With every curve, the Mediterranean opens up before you, shimmering under the sun, its waters painted in every shade of blue. The cliffs drop steeply into the sea, dotted with lemon groves and pastel houses that tumble down toward tiny harbors. It feels as if the landscape was designed not by chance, but by the hand of a master artist. The jewel of this coast is Positano. From a distance, the village appears like a cascade of colors, houses stacked one upon another in shades of pink, yellow, and cream. As you descend its winding streets, you find yourself in a maze of boutiques, cafes, and balconies, draped with bougainvillea. Down by the beach, boats sway gently on the waves while the scent of espresso and fresh bread drifts through the air. Positano is both lively and serene, glamorous yet humble, a place where every corner feels like a postcard brought to life. Further along the coast lies Amalfi, once the heart of a mighty maritime republic. In its bustling piazza rises the Cathedral of St. Andrew, its striped facade and grand staircase commanding attention. Inside, golden mosaics glimmer in the light, and the quiet air carries centuries of devotion. Amalfi itself is alive with energy markets, filled with local crafts, narrow alleys shaded from the sun, and restaurants where seafood is served so fresh it seems to come straight from the sea to your plate. High above the coast sits Ravello, a town that feels suspended between earth and sky. Known as the balcony of the Amalfi Coast, it offers views so breathtaking they silence even the most restless traveler. The gardens of Villa Simbrone and Villa Ruffolo unfold like paradise terraces lined with flowers, archways framing endless horizons, and quiet corners where poets, musicians, and artists have found inspiration for centuries. To stand here as the sun dips into the sea is to understand why Wagner, Gore Vidal, and so many others fell under Ravello's spell. But the Amalfi Coast is not just about beauty for the eyes, it is also a feast for the senses. The scent of lemons fills the air, their bright yellow fruits hanging heavy on trees, soaking up the sun. From these lemons comes limoncello, the region's signature liqueur, a sweet and zesty taste of sunshine in a glass. The food is simple, fresh, and unforgettable spaghetti, alle vongole, with clams pulled from the sea that morning, mozzarella so creamy it melts on your tongue, and pastries like sfogliatella, crisp layers hiding sweet, ricotta inside. Every meal here feels like a celebration, a moment to pause and savor life's simple pleasures. For those who wander beyond the main towns, the Amalfi Coast reveals hidden treasures. Tiny fishing villages like Atrani offer glimpses of a quieter life, where laundry hangs across narrow streets and locals gather in small squares, untouched by time. Hiking trails like the famous Path of the God's Wind high above the coastline, rewarding adventurers with views that stretch endlessly into the horizon. And out at sea, a boat ride along the coast unveils hidden coves, secret beaches, and sea caves where the water glows with magical light. And then, there is the night. As the sun disappears, the Amalfi Coast transforms. Villages glow with golden light, their reflections dancing on the water. Music drifts from terraces, Laughter rises from candlelit tables, and the gentle waves whisper against the shore. The world slows down here, reminding you that beauty is not meant to be rushed, it is meant to be lived. The Amalfi Coast is more than a destination. It is a feeling, an embrace of the soul. It is the reminder that life is not measured in days or hours, but in moments that take your breath away. To stand on this coastline, to breathe in its air, to let your heart be still as the sea stretches before you, this is the wonder of the Amalfi Coast. A wonder you will carry within you forever. What if you could step into a place where the air feels sharper, the sky closer, and the silence more powerful than words? A place where mountains rise like cathedrals of stone, and valleys cradle lakes so still they seem like mirrors of the heavens. This is the Italian Alps, the northern crown of Italy, a world of rugged peaks, serene villages, and landscapes, so breathtaking they make you pause, breathe, and simply exist. The Alps are not just mountains. They are a wonder carved by time, a reminder of nature's majesty and humanity's resilience. The journey begins in the Dolomites, jagged and dramatic, their pale peaks glowing pink and orange at sunrise and sunset in a phenomenon known as Rosadira. Here, nature puts on a daily show of colors that leaves you awestruck. In winter, the Dolomites transform into a snowy paradise, drawing skiers, snowboarders, and adventurers from around the globe. Villages tucked into valleys come alive with twinkling lights, the sound of laughter, and the aroma of mulled wine rising into the cold air. And when summer comes, the mountains bloom, meadows of wildflowers blanket the slopes, and trails invite hikers to wander through scenery so perfect it feels painted. But the Alps are not only about grandeur, they are about life lived in harmony with the land. In South Tyrol, a unique blend of Italian and Austrian culture creates a region unlike any other. Wooden chalets line the hillsides, their balconies overflowing with geraniums, while alpine pastures echo with the soft bells of grazing cows. The people here carry traditions that go back centuries, festivals, music, and food that reflect both mountain strength and Mediterranean warmth. Among the valleys lies one of Italy's most enchanting treasures, Lake Como. Shaped like an inverted Y, its deep blue waters are framed by steep green mountains that tumble straight into the lake. For centuries, Lake Como has been a retreat for poets, aristocrats, and dreamers, each finding inspiration in its serene beauty. Elegant villas with grand gardens line the shores, their reflections shimmering in the still water. Bellagio, often called the Pearl of the Lake, sits at the heart of it all, its narrow streets leading to terraces where views stretch endlessly across the water. A boat ride across the lake reveals one jewel after another: Varenna with its charming promenades, Menagio with its laid-back charm, and tiny fishing villages that seem untouched by time. In the quiet of morning, when mist lingers above the lake and the first rays of sunlight break over the peaks, Lake Como feels almost otherworldly. It is a place where time slows, where every breath feels deeper, and where beauty surrounds you in a way that is impossible to escape. Yet the Alps are more than landscapes. They are experiences that awaken your soul. Hiking the high trails, you hear only the crunch of your steps, the whistle of wind, and the distant cry of eagles soaring above. In winter, the thrill of skiing down pristine slopes is balanced by evenings spent in cozy mountain huts, warmed by fireplaces and hearty dishes of polenta, speck, and rich mountain cheeses. Life here is simple, yet deeply fulfilling, an embrace of the earth, the seasons, and the traditions that endure through time. And then there is the silence. In the Alps, silence is not emptiness, it is presence. It is the sound of snow falling gently on pine trees, the stillness of a frozen lake reflecting the stars, the peace of standing alone on a mountain ridge with the world stretching endlessly before you. It is a silence that fills, rather than empties, reminding you that sometimes the greatest wonders are not loud or grand, but quiet and profound. The Italian Alps are not just mountains to be seen, they are mountains to be felt. They remind us that beauty is not always soft and gentle. It can be strong, wild, and humbling. They show us that humanity, for all its achievements, is still small compared to the grandeur of nature. And yet, within that smallness, there is deep connection, a sense of belonging to something greater. To journey into the Alps is to rediscover the simple truth that the world is vast, magnificent, and endlessly beautiful. From the glowing peaks of the Dolomites to the tranquil waters of Lake Como, the Italian Alps are a wonder that touches not just your eyes, but your soul. Here, high above the noise of everyday life, you remember how to breathe, how to see, how to truly be alive. What if a city could live in two worlds at once, one foot firmly planted in history, the other striding boldly into the future? That city is Milan, Italy's modern heartbeat. It is a city of contrasts, Gothic spires rising above futuristic skylines, ancient masterpieces housed in a place that also thrives on fashion, finance, and innovation. Milan does not whisper its beauty, it radiates it with quiet confidence. A city that shows you the Italy of tomorrow without ever letting go of its glorious past. At its heart stands the Duomo di Milano, one of the largest and most magnificent cathedrals in the world. It took nearly 6 centuries to complete, and when you stand before it, you understand why. Its facade is a forest of marble spires, each one adorned with delicate statues, like frozen lace carved from stone. Step inside, and light filters through massive stained glass windows, painting the walls with stories of saints and legends. Climb to the rooftop, and the reward is unlike any other. A panoramic view of Milan's skyline, where history and modernity blend, from terracotta rooftops to gleaming towers of steel and glass. Just steps away, the Galleria Vittorio Emanuele II invites you into a temple of elegance. Beneath its soaring glass dome and mosaic floors lies one of the world's oldest shopping galleries. Here, fashion is not just sold, it is celebrated. Luxury boutiques and cafes line its arcades. But the Galleria is more than commerce. It is Milan's living room, where locals and visitors alike gather to watch, wander, and be inspired. Milan is also a city of masterpieces. Tucked quietly within the walls of the convent of Santa Maria delle Grazie is Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper. To stand before it is to witness history in its most fragile form, painted directly onto the wall. It has survived wars, neglect, and even bombing raids, yet it remains, carrying the genius of one man's vision. The expressions of Christ and his disciples capture not just a moment, but the very essence of human emotion. Seeing it is not just looking at art, it is touching eternity. But Milan is not frozen in its past, it pulses with energy. Known as the fashion capital of the world, Milan sets trends that ripple across the globe. Twice a year, during Fashion Week, the city becomes a runway itself. Streets alive with designers, models, and dreamers who transform fabric into art. But even beyond the glamour, fashion here is woven into daily life. Style is not an option in Milan, it is part of the culture, part of the city's identity. Beyond its glamour, Milan surprises with hidden gems. The Navigli district, once designed with canals engineered by Da Vinci, is today a vibrant hub of art, nightlife, and creativity. Alongside the water, cafes and bars glow with warmth, and evenings come alive with music and conversation. In Brera, cobbled streets lead you through galleries, antique shops, and the Pinacoteca, home to Renaissance treasures that rival any museum in the world. Milan is not a city that reveals itself all at once. It invites you to explore, to discover, to uncover its soul layer by layer. The city also stands as a beacon of innovation. Skyscrapers in the Porta Nuova district rise proudly, symbols of a future built on ambition and vision. The Bosco Verticale, 2 residential towers covered with thousands of trees and plants, shows how Milan is reimagining urban living, blending nature with architecture in bold, inspiring ways. Milan teaches us that tradition and progress do not have to compete, they can grow together. Food, too, tells the story of Milan. Rich, comforting dishes like risotto alla Milanese, golden with saffron, or the hearty ossobuco, slow-cooked veal shanks, speak of a city that values depth and warmth. Panettone, the sweet bread born in Milan, has become a holiday tradition around the world. And of course, Milan's cafes serve espresso with the kind of perfection only Italians can achieve, fueling both business and art in equal measure. As night falls, Milan glows with a different kind of beauty. The Duomo, lit against the dark sky, looks like a beacon guiding the city forward. Rooftop bars buzz with life, laughter spilling into the air, while quiet corners remind you of the city's deep soul. Milan is not a city that overwhelms you, it captivates you slowly, revealing itself with confidence, until you realize it has left an indelible mark on your heart. And so, our journey through Italy reaches its end. From the ancient power of Rome to the dreamlike canals of Venice, from the genius of Florence to the coastal magic of Amalfi, from the majesty of the Alps to the modern brilliance of Milan, Italy is more than a country. It is a masterpiece, painted with history, nature, and human creativity. Each city, each village, each landscape tells a story that becomes part of you once you experience it. Italy is not just a place to visit. It is a wonder to feel, a memory to carry, and a dream that never truly ends. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed exploring Prague as much as I enjoyed guiding you through it. If you found this travel guide helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more beautiful destinations from around the world. Got a favorite spot in Prague? Drop it in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, safe travels, and see you in the next video.